Are you struggling to connect with someone who seems emotionally distant, leaving you wondering if they'll ever truly open up? Do you feel stuck, questioning why your avoidant partner pulls away just when things get close? You're not alone. Hi, I'm Jim Rohn, a practicing therapist and doctoral student in psychology, and today I'm diving into a question that keeps so many of you up at night. Who do avoidant individuals feel a genuine deep love for? This isn't just another relationship talk. It's a roadmap to understanding the guarded heart of an avoidant and unlocking a connection that's deeper than you ever imagined. In this video, I'll reveal the surprising traits of the person. Avoidants can't help but feel drawn to traits that might already be in you waiting to be harnessed. You'll discover why avoidants seem to retreat just when you think you're breaking through. And I'll share proven strategies to build trust and intimacy without pushing them away. From the difference between fleeting, passionate love and the steady, lasting bond avoidants crave, to the exact behaviors that make them feel safe enough to open up, this video is packed with insights you won't find in generic relationship advice. Imagine knowing exactly how to approach your avoidant partner so they feel understood, not pressured, transforming your relationship from frustrating to fulfilling. Whether you're dating an avoidant, married to one, or just curious about their inner world, you'll walk away with practical tools to create a connection that lasts. But here's the catch: understanding avoidance takes patience, and I'm breaking it all down in a way that's clear and actionable. Don't miss the one trait that could change everything. It's coming up later in the video. If you're ready to crack the code on avoidant attachment and build a deeper bond, hit that subscribe button now, and let's get started. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss this. Imagine a person who's learned deep in their bones that opening up is risky. That's the avoidant individual. They're not cold or uncaring, not at all. They feel deeply, but those feelings are buried under layers of self-protection, forged from a lifetime of experiences where vulnerability didn't pay off. Maybe they grew up in a home where emotions were dismissed, or they were taught to rely only on themselves. Whatever the cause, avoidants have built a fortress around their heart, not because they don't want connection, but because they're terrified of what it might cost them. This makes it hard for them to recognize or form deep, genuine connections. They might be in a relationship, share a home, even laugh and talk with you, but there's a part of them that stays locked away. You might sense it, a distance, a hesitation, like they're always holding something back. And that can hurt because you're pouring your heart out and they're giving you half of theirs. What's worse, avoidants themselves often don't realize what's happening. They don't process their emotions the way others might. It's not that they're unwilling, it's that they don't know how. Their feelings are like a foreign language they never learned to speak, so they might keep someone in their life, maybe you, without forming a deep attachment. They're not trying to string you along, they're just navigating a world where connection feels like a minefield. Sometimes, after years of being with someone, they wake up to the fact that the bond isn't as deep as they thought. That's when they might pull away, not out of malice, but out of confusion or guilt. They don't know why they can't feel what you feel, and that realization can make them run. It's not about you, it's about their internal struggle, their fear of failing at something as vital as love. Understanding this is the first step to not just surviving a relationship with an avoidant, but thriving in it. You're not crazy for feeling frustrated, but you're also not powerless. There's a path forward, and it starts with seeing their guardedness, not as rejection, but as a shield they don't yet know how to lower. Now, why does this matter? Because if you're with an avoidant, their distance can feel like a personal attack. You might lie awake at night wondering what you did wrong, why you're not enough to break through their walls. That self-blame is a trap, and it's one you need to escape. When you understand why avoidants act the way they do, you stop carrying the weight of their behavior as your fault. It's not about you failing to be lovable. It's about their struggle to let love in. This isn't just about saving your sanity. It's about giving you the tools to build a bridge to them. Avoidants aren't unreachable. They're just wired differently. They crave connection, but only with someone who makes them feel safe, who sees through their defenses without tearing them down. Here's the key. Avoidants are deeply attached to those who understand them, not someone who demands they change overnight or who pushes them to be something they're not. They need someone who gets that their guardedness isn't a choice, but a reflex, and who can meet them where they are. When they feel understood, their walls start to crack, not all at once, but slowly, like ice melting in spring. They begin to trust, to open up, because you've shown them that vulnerability doesn't mean pain. This is why insight into their world is so powerful. It's not just about avoiding hurt. It's about fostering a connection that feels real to both of you. You start to see their traits, their need for space, their slow approach to love not as flaws, but as part of who they are. And when you do that, you're not just reacting to their behavior, you're shaping it. You're creating a space where they can risk being seen, and that's where the magic happens. This understanding also helps you look at yourself. Are you pushing too hard? Are you expecting them to meet you in a place they're not ready for? By putting these dynamics in the forefront, you can adjust your approach not to manipulate, but to align with what actually works. You're not just a passenger in this relationship, you're a partner, and that means taking responsibility for your side of the equation. When you stop blaming yourself and start understanding the avoidance world, you're not just surviving the relationship, you're building something stronger, something real. Let's talk about time, because it changes things for avoidants. As they get older, something shifts. In their teens or early 21s, avoidants might fall in love or think they do. It's often passionate, intense, the kind of thing that feels like it's ripped from a movie. But here's the catch: those early connections are often shallow, not because they're insincere, but because avoidants at that age haven't yet learned to navigate their own defenses. They're swept up in the rush, but it's not the deep-rooted connection they're capable of later. As they move into their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond, one of two things happens. They either become more guarded, doubling down on their fortress, or they start to heal slowly, learning to trust. If you're with an avoidant in their later years, you're dealing with someone who's likely been through the ringer. They've loved before, maybe lost, maybe hurt, and those experiences have made them cautious. But here's the good news. The connections they form now with you have the potential to be far more genuine. Why? Because they're not naive anymore. They're not chasing the fleeting high of passionate love. They're capable of something deeper, something that lasts. But it takes time, more time than you might expect. If you're expecting them to open up in a few months, you might be disappointed. It could take years because their trust is hard-won, forged through consistent safety and understanding. This is why patience is your greatest ally. An avoidant in their 41s isn't the same as one in their 21s. They've built higher walls, but they also have a deeper capacity for love if you can reach them. If they've been in relationships before, those early loves were likely more about infatuation than true intimacy. With you, it's different. They're more constructed, more aware of who they are, and that makes their connection to you when it comes more authentic. But you have to be willing to wait to show up consistently without pushing them into a corner. It's not easy, but it's worth it, because when an avoidant finally opens up, it's not a fleeting spark, it's a fire that burns steady and true. Now let's get to the heart of it. Love itself. In psychology, we talk about two kinds of love, passionate and compassionate, and they're not the same. Passionate love is what you see in movies, in pop songs, in those whirlwind romances that hit like a storm. It's intense, consuming, sometimes overwhelming. You feel it in your gut, like you can't breathe without the other person. But here's the truth. Passionate love on its own doesn't last. It's like a fire that burns hot but runs out of fuel. It can be volatile, unpredictable, and when it fades, it often leaves you wondering what happened. Avoidants, especially in their younger years, might mistake this for the real thing, but it's not the whole story. Compassionate love, on the other hand, is slower, quieter, but infinitely stronger. It's the love that grows through shared moments, through understanding, through standing by someone, even when it's hard. It's not flashy, but it's steady, consistent, and it endures. This is the kind of love avoidants are capable of when they feel safe, when they trust you. It's not about grand gestures or constant intensity. It's about building something that can weather the storms of life. Research backs this up. Compassionate love is what keeps couples together for decades, while passionate love, if it's all you've got, often fizzles out. For avoidants, compassionate love is where their deepest connections lie. Their early relationships, the ones from their teens or 21s, might have been fueled by passion, but they often lack the depth of what they can offer later. As they age, they become more guarded, yes, but also more capable of this steady, enduring love, if you can reach them. The ideal is a relationship that has the foundation of compassionate love, but still has moments of passion, those sparks that keep things alive. That's what you're aiming for with an avoidant, a bond that's rooted in trust and understanding, with room for the fire to flare up now and then. When you understand this distinction, you start to see why their love feels so hard-won, because it's not about the quick thrill, it's about building something real, something that lasts. You're sitting across from someone you care about, someone who feels like a puzzle you can't quite solve. They're warm one moment, distant the next, and you're left wondering what it takes to truly reach them. If they're avoidant, the answer lies in who you are to them, how you show up, how you make them feel safe. Avoidants don't open their hearts to just anyone. They're drawn to specific kinds of people, people who meet them where they are without demanding they become something they're not. This isn't about changing yourself to fit their mold. It's about understanding what resonates with their guarded soul. Let's walk through the traits that make avoidants feel a deep, genuine connection. These are the keys to unlocking their trust, and they're not as complicated as you might think, but they do require intention, patience, and a willingness to see the world through their eyes. First, be supportive, not disapproving. Avoidants are fiercely protective of their inner world, and they notice when you judge the things they love. Let's say your partner likes playing cards with their friends, maybe poker, maybe something else. It's not your thing, and you might worry it's a waste of time or money. If it's not hurting anyone, resist the urge to criticize. Instead, lean in, ask, how'd the game go? Did you win? Show curiosity about their world. This isn't about pretending to love what they love. It's about showing them their passions aren't a threat to you. When you support their hobbies, you're saying, I see you and I accept you. That's huge for an avoidant because they're used to feeling like they have to hide parts of themselves to avoid judgment. If you notice their card game is becoming a problem, say it's draining your shared finances, bring it up gently. Try. I've noticed this is costing us a lot. Can we talk about how to balance it? You're not attacking, you're inviting them into a conversation. This builds trust because they see you're not trying to control them. Over time, they'll let you in more because you've shown their world is safe with you. Next, be collaborative, not confrontational. Relationships aren't about one person being right and the other being wrong. If you're with an avoidant, you've probably felt the urge to say, why can't you just open up? That's a trap. It puts them on the defensive and they'll pull back further. Instead, approach change as a team effort. Say, I've been working on giving you more space, and I've noticed you're reaching out more like those texts you sent this week. I really appreciate that. Let's keep building on this together. You're acknowledging their effort, owning your part, and framing the relationship as a shared journey. This is critical because avoidants often feel like they're failing at love. When you show you're both working on things, they're not perfect, it takes the pressure off. They start to see the relationship as a place where they can grow, not a test. They're doomed to fail. I've seen couples transform when both partners commit to this kind of collaboration. It's not about fixing them, it's about growing together. And that's when avoidants start to lower their walls. Accountability is another cornerstone. We all mess up snap when we're stressed, say something we regret. With an avoidant, owning your mistakes is like handing them a key to trust you. They're hypersensitive to blame because it reinforces their fear that relationships are a battlefield. So if you lose your temper, don't brush it off. Say, I wasn't at my best yesterday when I yelled. I'm sorry, and I'm working on handling my stress better. I hope you can forgive me. Then, because avoidants hate lingering conflict, add, I don't want to dwell on this. Let's move forward, but I wanted you to know I see my mistake. This shows you're human, you're not perfect, and you're not afraid to admit it. For an avoidant, that's a signal that vulnerability isn't a trap. They struggle with apologizing themselves, so when you model it, you're teaching them it's safe to be imperfect. Over time, they'll start to mirror that openness because you've shown it doesn't lead to punishment. It's a small act that builds a foundation of trust, and trust is everything for an avoidant. Emotional independence is a big one. Avoidants are drawn to people who don't need constant emotional validation. If you're leaning on them every day to reassure you, to talk through every worry, it can feel like a tidal wave. They start to think, I can't give them what they need. I'm failing. And that's when they run. This doesn't mean you should hide your feelings. Sharing is healthy. But if you can handle some of your emotions on your own, it gives them space to breathe. Imagine you're upset about work. Instead of unloading every detail and expecting them to fix it, you might say, I had a rough day and I'm working through it. Just wanted you to know. You're sharing, but you're not making them carry your emotional weight. This shows them you're okay on your own sometimes, and it makes them feel safe to approach you. They don't feel like they're drowning in your needs, and that's when they're more likely to open up. It's like coaxing a wary animal you don't chase, you let them come to you. Patience is the bedrock of connecting with an avoidant. They move at their own pace, and it's slow, sometimes painfully so. What takes someone else 3 months might take them a year. Let's say intimacy has faded in your relationship. Early on, things were passionate, but now they're pulling back, maybe even shutting down when you try to get close. It's not about you, it's their fear of being too exposed. You might have to wait months, maybe more, for them to feel safe again. That's brutal, especially if you're craving closeness. But patience isn't about giving up, it's about showing up consistently without resentment. You're proving you're not going to push them into a corner. I've seen couples where this waiting led to a deeper bond than they ever imagined. When you show you can wait without punishing them, they start to process their fears. And slowly they come back. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and the reward is a connection that's real, not forced. Finally, be a non-reactive partner. Avoidance can trigger even the calmest people. They might snap. If I'm so hard to be with, why are you here? It feels like a rejection, but it's often a test. They're checking if you'll stay. Don't take the bait. Instead of spiraling, say, I know we're both upset, but I'm here because I care about you. Let's figure this out. You're staying steady, not adding fuel to the fire. This shows them they don't have to fear your reaction, and that's when they start to trust. It's not about suppressing your feelings, it's about expressing them in a way that builds a bridge, not a wall. When you do this, you're not just surviving their triggers, you're creating a space where they can be themselves, flaws and all. That's where the real connection begins. So how do you get there? How do you reach an avoidant and build that deep, genuine connection? It starts with being the kind of person they can trust, someone who makes them feel safe without demanding they tear down their walls overnight. Let's break it down, because this is where the rubber meets the road. First, be supportive, not disapproving. If your avoidant partner loves something like playing cards with their friends, don't roll your eyes or question their choices. If it's just a hobby, not a problem, encourage it. Ask them about it. Show interest. How's the game going? How many players are left? That kind of curiosity shows you accept them, not just tolerate them. It tells them they don't have to hide who they are to be with you. And when they feel accepted, they start to open up, because you've created a space where they don't have to defend themselves. This isn't about ignoring unhealthy behaviors. If their hobby is a problem, say it's draining your shared finances, bring it up, but do it with care. Instead of accusing, say, "I've noticed this is taking a lot of our resources. Can we talk about it?" You're not attacking, you're inviting them into a conversation. This builds trust because they see you're not out to control them. Over time, they'll be more likely to listen to your concerns because you've shown you're on their side. This is huge for avoidants who often feel suffocated by demands or criticism. By supporting their passions, you're saying, "I see you and I want you to be you." That's the first crack in their fortress. Next, be collaborative, not confrontational. Relationships die when one person demands the other change while refusing to look at themselves. I see this all the time in couples therapy. "Fix my partner," they say, as if they're perfect. That's a recipe for resentment. Instead, approach your relationship like a team. If you're asking your avoidant partner to open up more, show them you're working on yourself too. Maybe you say, "I've been trying to respect your need for space and I notice you've been texting me more. I appreciate that. Let's keep working on this together." You're acknowledging their effort, owning your part, and framing the relationship as a joint project. This takes the pressure off them because they don't feel like they're the only one who has to change. Avoidants often feel like they're failing at relationships, so showing them you're in it together, that you're both imperfect, both growing, makes them feel safe. It lowers their walls because they see you're not just pointing fingers, you're offering a hand. Accountability is another piece of the puzzle. We all mess up, yell when we shouldn't say something sharp in the heat of the moment. With an avoidant, owning your mistakes is critical. They don't trust easily, and if you dodge responsibility or refuse to apologize, you're reinforcing their belief that vulnerability leads to pain. So if you snap at them, don't brush it off. Say, "I wasn't at my best yesterday when I raised my voice. I'm sorry, and I'm working on it. I hope you can forgive me." Then, because avoidants hate dwelling on conflict, add, "I don't want to harp on this. Let's move forward. But I wanted you to know I see it." This does two things. It shows you're human and willing to own it, and it respects their need to move on. Avoidants struggle with apologizing themselves, so when you model this, you're not just repairing the moment, you're teaching them it's safe to be imperfect. Over time, they'll start to mirror that vulnerability because they see it doesn't lead to judgment. Here's a big one: emotional independence. Avoidants are drawn to people who don't need constant reassurance or emotional maintenance. If you're leaning on them every day to validate your feelings or talk through every insecurity, it can overwhelm them. They start to feel inadequate, like they can't meet your needs, and that triggers their instinct to run. This doesn't mean you should bottle up your emotions, far from it. Sharing your feelings is healthy and necessary. But if you can manage your emotions some of the time, if you can show you're okay on your own, sometimes it gives them space to breathe. They don't feel like they're failing you, and that makes them more likely to open up. Think of it like this. An avoidant is like a cat. If you chase them, they'll bolt. But if you sit calmly, let them come to you, they'll eventually curl up in your lap. Emotional independence shows them you're not a threat, and that's when they start to trust. Patience is the cornerstone here. Avoidants move at their own pace, and it's slower than most. What takes someone else 3 months might take them a year or more. This can be excruciating, especially if you're used to a relationship where intimacy flows freely. Let's say you're with an avoidant man, and early in the relationship, things were passionate, maybe even physical. But as you get closer, he pulls back, stops initiating intimacy, maybe even withdraws when you try. It's not about you. It's about his triggers, his fear of being too exposed. You might have to wait sometimes for months for him to feel safe enough to reconnect. That's hard. It feels unfair, especially if you've had that connection before. But patience isn't about giving up. It's about showing up consistently without resentment. When you do, when you prove you're not going to push or punish, they start to process their fears, and slowly they come back. I've seen couples where this waiting game led to a deeper bond than they ever thought possible. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Communication is another key. Avoidants don't respond well to pressure, so when you need to address something like their withdrawal, do it without demanding immediate change. Instead of saying, "You never touch me anymore, what's wrong with you?" Try, "I've noticed we're not as close physically lately. I know it's not personal, but I'm wondering if you'd want to work on this someday." You're opening the door without slamming it in their face. They might not have an answer right away. Maybe they'll say, "I'm not sure." That's okay. You've planted a seed, shown them it's safe to talk without being backed into a corner. Over time, they'll start to cross that bridge because you've made it clear you're not forcing them to change. You're inviting them to grow with you. Being less reactive is crucial too. Avoidance can trigger even the most secure people. They might say something defensive like, "If I'm so hard to be with, why are you even here?" An anxious person might hear rejection and spiral. Even a secure person might think it's a breakup threat, but it's usually not. Often they're testing you unconsciously, checking if you'll stick around. Instead of escalating, stay calm. Say, "I know we're both frustrated, but I'm here because I care about you. Let's work through this." You're not dismissing their feelings, but you're not adding fuel to the fire. This steadiness shows them they don't have to fear your reaction, and that's when they start to trust. It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about expressing them in a way that builds connection, not conflict. Finally, let go of grudges. Avoidants hate arguments, and they especially hate when they drag on. If you're still bringing up last week's fight to them, it's like a new fight every day. That's overwhelming, and it pushes them further away. Instead, address the issue, then let it go. Say, "We talked about this, and I'm ready to move forward." Let's focus on today. You're not ignoring the problem, you're choosing to prioritize the relationship over the conflict. This doesn't mean you never revisit issues, but you don't hold them like a weapon. When you show you can move on, you're telling the avoidant they're safe with you even when things get messy. That's when they start to lean in, because they see you're not keeping score, you're building something together. This journey with an avoidant isn't easy. It demands patience, self-awareness, and a willingness to meet them where they are. But here's the truth, avoidants aren't broken. They're not incapable of love. They're just carrying wounds that make trust feel like a gamble. When you show up as someone who understands who supports without demanding who's patient, without resenting, you're not just loving them, you're helping them heal. You're showing them that vulnerability doesn't have to end in pain. And when that happens, when an avoidant finally opens up, the connection you build is deeper, stronger than anything they've known before. It's not a quick fix, it's a long road, but it's a road worth walking. Because at the end, you're not just partners, you're a team forged in trust, ready to face the world together. So keep showing up, keep learning, and don't give up. The love you're seeking is possible, and it's closer than you think. Now that you understand the kind of person avoidants feel genuine, deep love toward, it's clear this isn't about manipulation or trying to trick someone into caring. It's about becoming emotionally grounded, self-respecting, and secure in a way that naturally builds trust in fragile dynamics. Because the truth is, most avoidants don't pull away out of malice, they pull away out of fear. Fear of being consumed, of losing control, of repeating past disappointments. But when they meet someone who knows how to stay calm without chasing, someone who respects themselves enough to set boundaries, someone who doesn't try to fix them but models emotional stability, that's when their walls start to loosen. That's when genuine connection becomes possible. If you're someone who's shown up with love only to feel rejected or confused, this is your reminder your love is not the problem, but how you show it matters. Secure love honors both people's nervous systems. It's not about effort alone, it's about alignment, emotional boundaries, and mutual respect. So whether you're learning to stop over-functioning or trying to understand why your avoidant partner seems hot one moment and cold the next, keep going. You're not here to beg for crumbs, you're here to build real, reciprocal connection. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped bring you clarity, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos like this. And I want to hear from you. Have you ever seen an avoidant fall deeply for someone? Have you experienced this shift yourself where someone finally valued your calm, your boundaries, your self-respect? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one. And if you're ready for more grounded, emotionally intelligent conversations about love, attachment, and secure relationships, this is the channel for you. Thanks again for being here. Take care of your heart, and I'll see you in the next one.